up and going.
Okay. I'm gonna find my pen that I dropped so I can write notes if I need to. I don't know what I did with it. I just had it and I heard something drop off my desk and I can't find it.
We'll wait for you to find your pen before we start.
You sure? It ain't looking like a binder. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, I got a highlighter if I need to take notes. We'll just go that route.
Hilarious. You can always type your notes too. Okay, we should be live. Let me double check. What window is it on? Oh, we are live. We got the notice that we were live. Okay, never mind. Anyway, we're live.
All right, you want to adjust our screen for slide?
Is it not sharing the right screen?
Nope.
Well, then yeah, I do.
Thank you.
I do want to adjust it. Let's try that again.
Appreciate it.
Is it sharing the right screen now?
We're good. Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So every single week we are here on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And each week we have different topics. Sometimes I would say about every 6 months, we do repeat a webinar with added information. And then we do like to take recommendations as well. So if there's certain credit topics that you're interested in, whether you're here with us live or you're watching this later, if you are watching it later, feel free to post in the comments. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. And we will be happy to make a webinar on that topic. But as always, we encourage people to join us live. I know it's the summer months, so it's a little lighter attendance, but we are always here to help. So, Allie, I'll let you start by introducing yourself first, and then I will go ahead and jump into it.
All right, so our topic for today is 5 steps to rapid credit repair. So I'm excited about this. My name is Alicia All. I'm a credit expert. I have been in this industry for about 21 years. You might have to update your slide now. I'm getting older as time goes on. But I am, like I said, in this industry, in this space, lending, credit repair, financial coaching, real estate, all of those things. And so I come to these webinars to help you understand credit, how it works, and how you can apply that to your life so that you can improve your credit. It's so essential today. If you have great credit scores, it opens up a lot of possibilities to you. When you have lower credit scores, you're really closed off to some amazing opportunities that can actually help you grow financially and even do what I call wealth building, right? So I'm excited about this webinar today, and I'm going to hand this over to the co-founder of Credit Score Pro, Ivory Becker.
Hello, Ivory Becker. I know we do this in front of every single webinar, so hopefully we are not boring you too much if you've been here before, but my name's Ivory, also co-founder, as Ali had mentioned, of Credit Score Pro AI. Long history in the credit space in some different areas than Ali, which really allowed us to come together and combine efforts and offer just so much more than I've ever seen in this side of the industry as far as our platform goes. We'll talk with you a little bit at the end about that. But let's go ahead and we'll jump into today's topic. Before we get into the details of those 5 tips we have, I think it's really good to visit where we are when it comes to credit scores. I think there's this illusion that everybody has this great credit score and that nobody is burdened with a lower credit score. But actually, 37% of adults have a credit score below 700. And if we look at numbers, taking it out of percentages, because percentages are often a quite abstract feeling, 60 million Americans have a credit score below 670. So if you are somebody that is suffering from having a score not quite where you want it, you're not alone. You're not alone at all. And there are options available to help you. And it always starts with first learning the basics. How the heck does credit work? And what can I do about my score? And what are my opportunities to create improvements? So let's talk about what's going on in today's environment. If we look at delinquencies going on right now, so delinquencies, specifically, if we look at those consumers, that's all of us, that are past due on our accounts, at least 30 days or more. And this is everyone from the poorer credit scores all the way to those excellent credit scores. We're seeing a lot higher percentages of delinquencies from credit cards to auto loans to mortgages, home equity accounts. And the only thing we've seen a decrease in is student loans. And student loans, the reason we've seen such a drastic drop, if you're looking at this chart here, I'll use a laser pointer. You see just this drastic drop for student loans is because we had the pause of reporting delinquencies from the CARES Act, right? We had that why am I blanking on the word, Allie? Deferred payments.
Deferred payments. I think the other thing
Forbearance.
that is a big deal right now with
Mhm.
why we're not seeing the student loan delinquency rate as being high and it's actually going down is, we have the SAVE program.
Yep.
There are still, most of your student loan carriers are still not having a student loan payment as of today.
Mhm.
And then of course, those that are on the SAVE program, a lot of them are on 0%. $0 monthly payments, and then are in that SAVE program. So I think that's where we're seeing those numbers. I think if that did not happen, we would see, just like everything else, a big driver to delinquencies across that category as well.
I think one of the most astounding statistics is that 49% of credit card holders are carrying a balance from month to month. 49%. That's half of people with credit cards are carrying a balance over month to month. And we have this pressure. Everything's more expensive. Our incomes aren't keeping up with the expenses. So it's just natural. What are we going to not pay? Well, the first thing we're going to skip paying is going to be things like credit cards. We want to keep our roofs over our head. We want to keep our vehicles, right? So we tend to try to preserve those if they're our primary vehicle, if it's, our primary home that we're living in, whether it's rent or a mortgage, right? So, I don't know, anything you want to add to that?
I would just say, if we look at the auto, it's also got a high percentage. And I
Yes.
think that it goes along with what you're saying is, things are more expensive now. And if people have, I think where we're seeing that increase is that if people do have multiple cars,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to let one go
Exactly.
and just have one car for the family. We're seeing more of that as well.
Yeah, and that was just 30-day delinquencies. So if we look at the more severe or more serious delinquencies, so that's going to be anyone that's 90 days past due or greater. And again, looking at poor to excellent credit, we are seeing about 7% of credit cards for all consumers in all credit score ranges, more than 90 days past due right now. Cars drop down quite a bit more. So it looks like people are trying to keep those vehicles if they can, and just doing what they can. And all the others are a bit less. But I think what really stands out here is the credit cards, right? And the delinquencies in general for credit cards have been growing for 9 consecutive quarters, and doubled in the past 2 years. So why are we showing you this? Why are we talking about these delinquencies? Well, a couple of different reasons. These delinquencies mean credit scores are impacted. Hardship is temporary, and it's what can we do as we get out of hardship? What are the options available to us when it comes to credit? And if you are encountering a hardship, I do want to side note mention contact your creditors. There are often options available even with credit cards. Some credit card companies may require you to be past due to some level before they offer these types of modifications or assistance options, but not always. That you don't always have to be past due. Depending on the creditor, they may put your interest rate at 0, close your card, allow you to continue making payments, but not report past due. I mean, there's a whole variety of different types of assistance options. I know, Allie, in one of our last webinars, you were talking about that with one of your clients.
Yeah, and I would say that, a lot of people in stress like this will seek debt consolidation companies or debt settlement companies, those type of things. And they're paying someone a fee to do that, and then they're consistently going late. I think what Ivory just said, it keep that in mind before you make that phone call for another organization to work on your behalf. You may get indeed better results and save your credit score by contacting them yourself with a hardship. I will tell you a little secret, a trump card for financial hardship ability through like credit card companies and other lenders is if there's a medical issue. So if there's a medical within your family or yourself, that really, you should make sure you state that, because you generally will get help at that point in time. But like Ivory said, a lot of times you do have to be delinquent. If you're 100% on time and you haven't had any delinquencies, they don't believe that you have an imminent default, and they do require for financial assistance an imminent default. Even though in my book, an imminent default means I told you I'm going to default if you don't help me, right? In their book, it's you're already defaulted. Okay.
All right. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. So we're going to count down. We're going to start with number 5. And then we're going to go to number 1. So number 5 is understand what is helping and what is hurting your credit score. If we can't define the problem, how can we solve the problem, right? We have to understand. So, do you understand what drives your credit score? That's what we're going to look at. So this chart here is breaking down the 5 factors that contribute to your FICO credit score, and also, let's just say your credit score in general. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So payment history is number 1. So we've talked about delinquency. We know that missing payments can have an adverse impact to your credit score. The more severe that delinquency, so the further past due you are, the more severe that impact to the score, the bigger the drop in points when it comes to your credit score. But don't forget about positive payment history. Don't forget about how helpful that good reporting is to your credit. So when we think about the credit score algorithm, think of it as just a tool to measure how much risk is it for a bank to lend to you. It's a risk profile. That's all it is. It's just a risk profile. So if you can show the bank, hey, I was having a hard time making payments, but things are better now, I'm able to pay things on time now, that's going to reflect positively. That's going to help pull your credit scores up. But if you are not reestablishing positive history, if you're not adding any good information showing new on-time payments to your credit report, the algorithm doesn't know. It doesn't have that data to extract to see that, oh, hey, things were rough, but they're better now. So there's lots of tools that you can utilize to add good payment history to your credit report. Don't think that Allie and I would be saying, hey, we want you to go take out a bunch of debt unnecessarily so you can add good payments to your report. That's not where we're at. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Allie.
I could add all kinds of stuff.
I know.
But we're a limited time, but I will just add this piece. If I'm looking at, I got 10 different credit cards, maybe I'm exaggerating on that, but let's say I have that and I'm having a hard time paying all my credit cards. How about instead of going late on 9 or all 10 credit cards, we pick and choose which ones we're going to be late on, so that we can, what Ivory said, and remember that the positive history helps you too. Because I know a lot of clients personally who are going through financial hardships and they think, oh, if I'm late on one, I'm just going to be late on all of them. Who cares? My credit score is already hit. But what they don't understand is if we can hold on to the other ones, even if we have to let one go, we can actually rebuild and repair that credit faster, and it'll help to improve the credit by making those on-time payments on the other ones. So I just like to say that because I think there's ways, or, I like to say this to people, there are things on your credit report that affect your credit score. If you pay those on time, that's great, do that. If there's things outside of your credit report that you can wait to be late on and it doesn't affect your score, maybe those are the ones you're late on, keeping in mind if it's a utility bill, you don't go so late where your lights are turned off or anything like that. I think if you strategize too, like who do I pay to keep my credit score good, the things that are on my credit and the other things that are not reporting on my credit report, I can be a little bit more laxed on, if that makes sense.
The utility companies also have assistance options too. So don't forget about those other bills that aren't reporting to credit. Call them too. Yeah. So anyway, I loved what you said though. It's such an important fact. I'm really glad I paused weirdly and you took the time to explain all that. Okay. Next most important factor, amounts owed, also known as utilization. This is really heavily focused on credit card balances. What is your balance versus that credit limit? And if you are carrying a high balance, if your cards are maxed out, which really just means you owe that full credit limit. Your credit was extended at $500, you owe $500. The higher that credit limit, the higher the balance as compared to the credit limit, the bigger the negative impact to your credit report. So we do recommend paying cards down one at a time. Ideally, get those balances under that 20% mark and then move on to the next card. I'm going to leave it pretty high level. We do, if you are watching this later, we do have a recording where we talk just about credit cards. So we have a whole webinar focused on credit cards only and all the secrets, all the things you need to know about managing and maintaining them. One thing I'll point out, don't forget about this category. If you are afraid of credit cards, you do need to have at least ideally 2 open and active credit cards that you're using at least once every 3 months in order to have this factor positively influence your credit score. So the next one is length of credit history. The longer you have open and active accounts, the more benefit to your credit score. The best way to have open and active accounts that don't close is a credit card as well. So you can start with secured credit cards. Everyone has a starting point. This is when you put a deposit down to gain access to a line of credit. Many of those cards will convert to unsecured cards later. Again, if you really want to deep dive in credit cards, please visit our credit card webinar. And then we have new credit. This is really just looking at inquiries. Are you excessively applying and opening new accounts? If you are excessively doing that, it can have an adverse impact to your score. This category is proportionally worth very little as compared to the prior 3 we discussed. So really focus on those prior 3. Those are really your meat and potatoes of what really helps your credit score. And then finally, we have a credit mix. And that's really just looking at, can you pay different types of accounts on time? Are you able to manage different types of accounts properly or responsibly? So for this category, what your credit score algorithm wants to see is, do I manage credit cards well? Do I also manage loans like auto loans well? And you can influence this category by doing some self-reporting. Visit our website if you're curious about self-reporting. On our credit building tab, we have resources for how to add your rent to your credit report without landlord input, how to add your utility bills, subscription services, all those other bills that you don't get credit for on your credit score. You can proactively get those added so you can influence all these categories we just talked about in a positive way. So, did I miss anything? Secret number 5, then, understanding these basics. Having this foundational understanding will really propel you as you are trying to either establish credit, rebuild credit, improve your credit. And if you keep coming to these webinars, we dive into each of these topics in more detail, just depending on the webinar. And so understanding the nuances of each of those factors is really going to propel you. And we're going to talk about a few bits and pieces of those nuances as we explore these 5 tips. Well, the next 4 tips. So number 4, pay down the correct balances. So what shouldn't we pay, Allie? What are the things we don't want to pay with the primary goal of improving the credit score?
So I would definitely say that we don't need to worry about paying down amortized loans like credit cards and student loans and personal loans, right? Because if we were to pay those off, then now they're no longer a part of the algorithm to improve the credit score. So once a loan is closed, it's no longer a part of that. So that could cause us to lose a substantial amount of credit history. And a lot of people are seeing that right now with student loan forgiveness. As great as student loan forgiveness is, we love to see our student loans gone. We don't want to pay those, right? But the fact is that a lot of my clients are calling me because they had a huge drop in their credit score because it was a very long line of credit. They might have opened that student loan up in 2010 and it got forgiven in 2024, we lost 14 years of history when that happened, and they saw a drop in their score. So that goes along with everything. You know, I hear people all the time talk about, oh, I paid my auto loan off, so my score should go up. Oh no, it's probably went down, you know. As well as looking at paying off collections that are non-medical that could cause an issue. There is information where, you know, it could help, it could not. But in the beginning, when you're really working on your credit, I would say kind of put those to the side if they're
Don't
non-medical.
focus on it.
Yeah,
Don't
and
make it the
definitely
primary
don't
focus.
do those loans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if you have the money to pay off an auto loan and you have credit card debt, pay off the credit card debt, right? Let that auto loan sit there.
Yeah. Agreed. Now, what should we be advising people to pay?
Absolutely, your credit cards. They have such a huge weight to your credit score because of the credit utilization factor, which you saw on that graph that we showed earlier. It's a huge part of your credit score. So paying off or down credit card debt would be my first thing if I were doing anything on a credit report. The other thing that would be very good if you have medical collections, because there's a new rule that the credit bureaus have created that says, hey, if you pay off your medical collections, we will completely remove that collection from the credit report as if it never happened, right? And then you have charge off accounts. And a lot of people get confused about this because they think if it's charged off or AKA written off, kind of are words that people use interchangeably, even though they're very different. By paying those off, that could help because even though they're charged off, there's still a collection. You still owe that debt.
Mm-hmm.
You still owe that debt, okay? Charge off does not mean that you don't owe that debt. But if you don't pay it off, you're continuously getting hit on your credit report month after month that this is a charge off collection and it's bringing your score down. So if you were to settle and pay that off, you stop that bleeding. So there's just some things that you could focus on.
Allie, I think one of the things that probably confuses a lot of our viewers is the differences between a charge off and a collection. What is a charge off? How do you distinguish the difference between that charge off and that collection?
Great. And I will tell you as I'm explaining this that a charge off can also be a collection. And what I mean by that is if a charge off is with your original creditor. So if I had let's say Capital One credit card and I charged it off, that means that collection is being held with that original creditor internally. Yes. And I'm going to pay them. If it becomes a collection, that means that Capital One either sold or sent that to servicing to another company who's now collecting. So you might see that on your credit report twice. And of course, if that's the case, it'll say charged off on the Capital One sold to another lender or something like that. And then you might see it twice, but they're different. So the collection is not the original creditor. That would be the entity who either bought the debt or is servicing it for the original creditor.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, any questions on that, put it in the comments. We'll make sure we answer you. So, okay, number 3. Don't forget to use credit. I kind of already alluded to this in the beginning, so I gave it away. But your credit score is your financial resume. So I like to think of it that way as the resume. So if we are not showing that we have the ability to pay on time, if you're someone you had credit damage and now you're just afraid, you don't want that damage to happen again. It's just missing job history, right? Or in this case, missing credit history. There's no reporting on you. So how can a lender say whether or not it's a good or a bad idea to allow you to borrow from them, right? So if they have no new data, they're going to err on the side of caution and say, hey, well, we don't want to let you borrow from us because the last history we have from you is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And you were missing payments at that point. But if you're someone who's able to add new information in your report, i.e. rebuild good credit, a lender is going to be more likely to allow you to borrow. And it may be at terms not as favorable as if you had, a score in the 700s. But as you're able to build that resume, as you're able to prove that you can make on-time payments and you can be trustworthy, you will see your score improve. You will see more opportunities coming your way. So.
And just to wrap up on that one, and I don't know, it might be on the next slide. I don't know. Oh, what happens when you don't use credit? Okay, so that's maybe a good one. But I'll just interject. If you do have credit cards and you have not used them, AKA in the most recent 3 months, they become inactive and now they're no longer helping improve your credit score. So we might see them on there. And I'll give you a brief example of a consumer who I worked with who got the credit card that I recommended, and then he put it away. He didn't use it. It didn't help his credit score. So he's wondering, well, you told me to get this credit card. It was supposed to help my credit score, but there was no activity on it. So because of
Right.
that, not having activity, then it did not improve his credit. So you do need to use it. Even something small, like if I have a credit card and I go swipe it at the gas station to buy a bottle of water, and then wait till I get the bill and have it automatically paid off. Or what I would love to suggest to my clients is everybody has Netflix, pay your Netflix from your credit card, have it auto paid from your checking account so you can like put it away, but you're constantly having some usage on it. Was a great way to use it, especially if you're scared to use credit. You don't have to have it in your wallet. You don't have to swipe it. Just use it for something that you're already going to pay for every single month and then have it auto paid from your checking account.
Why don't you go ahead and continue onto the slide? You're basically on that topic.
Okay. Well, you have to have credit. And some of the easiest ways to have credit, if you don't already have credit, is getting a secured credit card. That's one of the easiest ways. And we're going to show you at our website, and you can certainly go there right now. It's creditscorepro.ai. We have a credit building page where you can see some really great credit building resources that we vetted, meaning that they're not the ones that you might see everywhere else. And people will get like First Premier credit card, and they're paying a monthly fee for that service and a large annual fee. And I'll see people like blow this part up when I talk about you need credit and you have to use it. They'll blow it up and they'll get 10 credit cards that they have to pay a $100 annual fee. Now they just paid $1,000 for that and they didn't need it, right? So you can go overboard. But if you go to creditscorepro.ai and go to our credit building resources, we have many resources that are either free or low cost for you to improve your credit. So just know that you don't have to have tons and tons of credit cards or anything like that, but you need them. You need them so that you can show that you're paying things. What else did you have on this slide? Because I don't even know what this slide
I mean,
said.
that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
If you don't have credit, just understand that nowadays credit is permeated into everything. It didn't used to be the
everything.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't used to be the case. It's getting apartments now. I was talking to a newer client the other day, and they needed a 680 credit score to get an apartment, and they didn't have that. So they knew going into it they were going to need a co-signer, a co-applicant, if you will. And they asked a parent who had a almost 800 with them. Parent applied, and they were declined because it's so strict that they're saying, well, your score has to be higher. We won't accept a co-applicant signing on your behalf anymore to qualify for renting. So it's just we saw delinquency rates at the beginning. When things get tighter, when banks and all these institutions are having a harder time with people going past due, lending becomes more and more and more conservative, and it becomes even more and more important to have a stronger credit score. And that's just where we're at right now.
Yeah. Yes.
So
It's
that was
important.
long-winded, but
No, it's important. I bet it's very true. And it's a reality that a lot of people are facing right now. And part of that is that lending has tightened up. So even in renting world, obviously we're seeing that tighten up. And then part of that reason for the renting is we are on a housing shortage, quite
oh yeah,
frankly. And so if we're on a housing shortage and I can get 20 applications for my rental property, who am I going to pick?
you're gonna pick and
Right?
choose.
You're going to be very picky and choosy, and you're going to have more standards of what you're willing to accept, because ultimately if I'm renting the house, I want you to pay me. So who's more likely to pay me, right? And so we can't blame anyone for this, but we certainly can do things to improve our own situation. And I said in the beginning, great credit opens up a lot of opportunities and possibilities that bad credit doesn't. So if I were to give someone the single best thing they can do in their life that could really take them from zero to a millionaire even, is having great credit opens up doors. So take this information, really digest it, take it into your life. If you are suffering from bad credit, I encourage you to contact us. You can always go to creditscorepro.ai. We have a wonderful software there that's completely free for you. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want to put that plug in there right now because I'm passionate about this. And I think you can hear this in my voice, but I'm very passionate about the fact that you have to have good credit. Stop getting mad at everybody from tightening their belts. They should tighten their belts. They want to get paid too, right? They're in business to make money. They're not in business to lose money and suffer themselves. So that's okay. They can do that. But now we have to tighten our belts so that we can play in the same ball field, right? And that might hit some people a little bit wrong, but I believe that great credit opens up possibilities, and this should be one of your main focuses if you don't have good credit right now. Okay, zip it.
No, it's good. It's important stuff.
Yeah.
So what types of credit should you use and why? So we want to bring it back to the score factors from number one, right? We want to influence credit mix, our credit age. So our age of open accounts, not your closed accounts, our age of open and active accounts. We want to influence payment history and utilization, right? Those are what's driving the credit score. So how do we efficiently influence these factors? Not doing what Allie's client did, opening 10, 11 credit cards. Inefficient, right? We do want credit cards. Ideally, we would like to have at least two open and active credit cards. If you got into a place where, hey, you've been building for a while, you have graduated from these secured cards, we'd like to see three. Credit builder accounts, super, super, super awesome tools. We have these resources again on our website. A credit builder account is a savings account that reports like a loan on your credit. So if you are trying to save for something and you struggle with saving, this is a really great way to do it because it's hard to pull that money out. You totally can. You can close the account and get it out, but it's cumbersome, right? It's steps you have to take. A lot easier than clicking transfer $500 from my savings to my checking.
Well,
That's
and if you close it, then now you don't have that open, good standing account on your
Yep.
credit report. So there's an incentive to keep it open as well for your credit score to keep that up.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's such a great resource. So many people struggle with savings, and this is a great way of like forced savings, right? And you get the benefit of improved credit at the same time.
Yeah, and we like to use them quite a bit. If you have a specific goal in mind that you're saving for, you can choose that dollar amount. Let's say I want to save $5,000 for, I don't know, a down payment for my first house. Maybe you need more than that, but maybe you have some already. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to save a set amount of money, you're able to choose, hey, this is my end goal, and then it helps you build that plan to save that much. So by that end date, there you go. You've got all the funds saved. You're ready to move forward with whatever you were saving for. You've built your credit at the same time, so your credit's in the right place. So it's a win-win.
And hey guys, it is July, so we're like kind of in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming, and I know that you guys got any savings for Christmas, and we're going to spend money. And I see this; it's the new year rush. I'm going to now pay off all the credit cards that I spent in December, and we don't even know what we paid for. And now we're in this remorse because we probably didn't need to do it anyway, and no one was happy about the gifts we bought. So I encourage you today to open that credit builder account. Ivory, before we end this webinar, let's point out exactly where that is.
Yeah, we will do that.
Open one up for the simple purpose of saving for Christmas, if nothing else.
Yeah. Monthly expense reporting.
I love this one.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, we're going to talk about it more in the next slide, so don't.
I won't dive into it, but I'm just going to say, she's going to shut me up. So no, this is great. You're already paying for utility bills, Netflix, cell phone, car insurance, all those things. Why not have that report on your credit report? And you can do that. So here she goes. Number two, don't forget the credit building tools. So let's jump in.
Keep going. Go for
it. So credit building tools. I don't know what these slides say, so I don't know what I'm doing here, but credit building.
Tell who makes the slide, everyone. The slides, everyone. It's me.
I get them when I come in, but credit building tools will help you in a lot of ways. And when we talk about the ones with where it's reporting your monthly, you're not getting new debt. It's already the debt you're paying every month. Why not have that report? And there's tools that allow us to report those monthly expenses. A lot of you have heard of Experian Boost. You can certainly do that. But which one is it that does it to all three credit bureaus? Is it Stellar?
No, Grow Credit does.
Grow Credit does. Okay.
Yeah, we have that on our website too. I mean, we have.
Yeah, we'll show you
all the good reputable ones. We'll show you in a minute after number one.
I think that's important. Okay. I'm done with this slide unless you had something I needed to say.
No, I mean, I think we already touched on this. Why take out debt if you don't have to build your credit? That's the point, right? There's some
Really
things you
don't.
have to do like the credit card, but
But
why
even
not
the credit card, you're getting debt out, but you can apply the expense of something you're already paying. You don't have
Mhm.
to swipe the card, you know?
Exactly.
All right, number one, find the errors. This is what I love about Credit Score Pro, guys. So we're going to jump into a little bit more about Credit Score Pro. So Credit Score Pro is a software. It's completely free for you all. So please visit creditscorepro.ai to learn more. There is a fee for credit monitoring because we do need a credit report. Obviously, we need to see a credit report so we can do the work in Credit Score Pro. So we partnered with an awesome company called Smart Credit. The partnership and the connection cost you $39.99 a month. It's very affordable and you're going to get so much out of it. But one of the things you're going to get out of it is an analyzer. It's going to take that credit report, it's going to analyze it, and it's going to find errors for you. This is a great help to improving your credit, right? If we have negative items that are showing errors on it, which most likely they are, then Credit Score Pro can help you get those items removed from the credit report. And it's so, so valuable, and you should be doing it. Most credit reports are riddled with errors. Some of them you will not see. The nice thing about Credit Score Pro is it's reading a raw data credit report. That is the back end, what we don't see. And when we look at a pretty credit report, quote pretty, because a lot of people say that's foreign language, we're looking at what the vendor decided to show us, but there's so much more code behind that that we don't see. Credit Score Pro is reading all of that. So even if we looked at the credit report that we see and we don't see an error on it, the likelihood that there's an error in that back end code is highly likely. So we can analyze that, we can pick out those errors, take that to create dispute letters that will then help to get that off the credit report and obviously improve your credit score. Do you want to take me to the next slide?
No, I'm gonna talk more.
Okay, she wants to talk more.
So 70% of credit reports have errors, okay? And I want to be very clear about this. It's not about whether you were past due or whether you owed the debt you didn't pay. It's about whether the laws and the regulations are followed, right? It's about compliance. So identifying the error can allow you to create a dispute, which can allow you to have negative information removed from the credit report, even if you did miss a payment, even if you were delinquent. Okay. It's very important. So, what are errors? Inaccurate information, inconsistent information, obsolete information. Okay. That's the basis of it. Now, we don't expect you to be able to identify every single thing. We got random things circled here. They look random. It doesn't seem to make sense, right? But that's why the AI is so great. It's looking for all sorts of things. And this is just a teeny tiny little example of things that the AI is looking for. The list would be huge, right? So once an error is fixed or deleted, that could be an immediate and significant improvement to your credit score once that correction is made on your report, right? You're not waiting 7 years for the negative information to fall off of your credit report. That is huge. 7 years is a long, long time. So now what? Well, you need to know your credit score, right? You need to know what your goals are. Why do you want better credit? What is your end goal by improving and getting that better credit? How do we identify the issues? How do we dispute the errors? How do we reduce debt? What's our plan for making sure we can pay bills on time? Are you managing your expenses by budgeting? What credit building tools can you use? What should you be applying for? What shouldn't you be applying for? How do you monitor your progress and how do you educate yourself? Those are all of the things that you need in your credit action plan. And knowing all of those things will allow you to create a SMART goal. This is one of Allie's favorite things. So I'm sure most of you have heard of a SMART goal. What's a SMART goal look like, Allie?
Well, for Credit Score Pro, when we're looking at your credit report, we're very goal specific. So if you said, hey, my goal is to buy a house, right? That is specific. We know what you want to do. And now we can measure the results and we can come up with a plan so that you can achieve those. And that's what Credit Score Pro does. So when you go into our software, you will be able to pick your goal. And then we're going to analyze that credit report just like we did with the errors. We're going to analyze it to come up with what are the actions you can take above and beyond the disputes. So we all know that's part of the picture, but that's a small part of the picture. The big part of the picture is what do we do above and beyond disputes? All that stuff that we talked about before that affect those 5 factors, right? What do we do? And then Credit Score Pro will create that detailed action plan, giving you action step number 1, action step number 2, action step number 3, and walk you through what you need to do tailored to you to get to your goal, which is amazing. And it follows that SMART goal setting, right? We have a specific goal. We need to have the action steps. We need to have it measurable. So Credit Score Pro is then going to look at that credit report every single month and analyze it again and say, okay, congratulations. You had 10 items to do. Now you have 5, right? So we're keeping ourselves accountable. We're able to measure the results. We see the score improvement. These are all things that are very important when we're looking at improving the credit, right?
Okay. So let's look at what the system actually looks like. So if you log into Credit Score Pro, you're when you sign up, it's going to walk you through setting up the credit monitoring. And again, Credit Score Pro is completely free, right? You're only paying to access the credit report. The AI is super smart. That's the whole point of AI, right? And it's looking at your credit report, that raw data file on the back end. That's like, you say you have a 10-page credit report, that could be 500 pages of code. Nobody's looking at that and able to extract that information as quickly as AI, which does it like that. So when it does that, it is able to identify all the opportunities that do exist, all those errors, all those issues. All you have to do is choose the accounts that you want to dispute. We do recommend disputing all negative accounts on your credit report. The AI is going to create the dispute for you. It's going to create the best dispute options. The only time we recommend deviating is in the case of identity theft. AI doesn't know if your identity was taken, so it will be up to you to change just this drop down right here to identity theft at that point. And the Credit Score Pro is going to automatically walk you through each credit bureau to create the disputes for all 3 bureaus. And then from there, we do recommend that you print and physically mail those letters to the credit bureaus. Mailing the letters does create higher opportunity for faster success, creates higher opportunity for the bureaus not ignoring you or utilizing stall tactics. It doesn't mean they won't, but it limits that potential. If you do not have that as an option, let's say for you don't have a printer or something of that sort, you can utilize our integration with maildash.io, which will allow you to use that mailing service to send the disputes off on your behalf. Let's talk about the goal setting. So Ali mentioned how important the goal setting is. There's a whole bunch of different types of credit score algorithms used in different types of lending. So when your action plan is created for you, we want to make sure it makes sense for your goal. We don't want to send you down the path for getting a business loan if you're trying to buy a house. It doesn't make any sense, right? So one of the great things about Credit Score Pro is it does allow you to choose your goal. And based on your goal, we're going to create a tailored action plan utilizing the AI. So Ali, I'll let you talk a little bit about that action plan.
So like I said before, the action plan is tailored for you, specifically for your goal and what's on your credit report. So if we look at this particular example, the person's goal is to buy a home. It's going to give them actions on what they need to do in order to buy a home. So in this particular, I know this is very small, but one of the action plans is to pay down the balances, and it's going to tell you exactly how much to pay. You'll also see stuff like activating cards. So this person needs to activate a card that's gone inactive. Maybe they haven't used it in 3 months, right? And so it's become inactive. So in some of these things, these actions can be very quick, easy to do actions that have significant improvement to their credit score. But again, it's tailored for you. It will count down. So every month you'll get a new plan with where you're at. And of course, if you went the wrong way, it'll notify you of that too. So green is good, red is bad, right? And so you can keep track and be accountable for your actions towards improving your credit for your goal, right? And what I love about it is goal driven. So that goal is right in front of you. And so if things get a little rough and you get into a rough patch with your credit and you're thinking, man, I got these things still to do and I haven't done them, refer back to your goal. You know, is that goal so important? Are you so passionate that you'll go through the rut to make sure it happens? You'll, tighten your shoelaces. You'll, eat ramen noodles, spaghettios.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You
Um,
can change your goal too, right? So
yeah.
if you thought you wanted to buy a house, but you're like, you know what? Maybe I'd rather work on getting out of debt first. You can switch your goal at any point in time
Yeah.
during
And we have one like buy a car. So maybe, I've had people who come to me and they
Mhm.
want to buy a home at first. And then they're like, you know what, my car just broke down. Now my goal has changed. I need to buy a car right now. And so we're going to change the plan, right? What do we need to do for that goal? So that's very important takeaway there. Oh, here it is, our credit building resources. This is on our website, guys. Please, 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 please check this out because you're missing out if you are getting, number one, you're trying to build credit and you're doing the wrong things. And now you're paying thousands of dollars for these annual credit fees for credit cards that you don't even need. So a lot of these resources here are either free or low cost. We have vetted them, and they will help you improve your credit without you going out and getting a bunch of debt or having to pay high fees for things. There are so many credit building tools out there, and they market the heck out of them. Like I'm going to tell you, First Premier credit card. Everyone knows about First Premier credit card because I know if you have bad credit, you've gotten their marketing piece in your mailbox. They're going to give you a credit card. You're going to pay $99 annual fee and $15 monthly service fee, right? They know you and they're targeting you, but you don't need that card to improve credit. And I think that's so very important.
Mhm.
So look at this credit building resources to see different resources that you can do. But we talked about the go back to the other screen. I want to talk about where we were talking. No, the credit building resource where we were that you moved off of.
Oh,
Um,
oh, too far.
yeah. So we talked about the credit builder account. So you see that the credit builder account, that was that one we were talking about earlier, where you essentially are getting a savings account that's reporting to your credit report as a loan. Credit Strong is the same. And this can allow you to be forced savings, right? So I encourage you to do that because a lot of people have a hard time saving. And if you do that. We have also on this page, which we don't see here, but if you go to creditscorepro.ai and look at the credit building resource page, we also have a high yield savings account. So if you are the type of person who's like, I can save money, I have saved money, you can go onto the website and you can open a high yield savings account. If you go to the website and you click on it, it's going to bring up a marketplace of different savings accounts that are available to you. And there's one on there right now that's paying 5.21% interest rate. That's unheard of. You can't get that anywhere, but you can get it from that site. And if you put it, you could start with just $1, which is amazing. But I've done it where I had a client, she had $20,000 with Bank of America savings account. She was making 0.001%. And she switched over to high yield making 5.21%. So she's actually making about $200 a month of interest. Free money, guys, interest, free money. That's what's the power and the beauty of savings accounts, but you want to have your money in the right savings account. So if you are good at saving, check out what savings account you currently have. And if you have a savings account that's not making you 5.21%, go on to creditscorepro.ai, check out our credit building resources, scroll down and you'll see the savings account link.
I do want to mention too, the credit action plan will recommend certain building tools that make sense based on your profile. So you can go to our website, find the tools, of course, for free. They're right there publicly available for everyone. But if you want to know what tools are best for you, that's when the AI is going to really direct you to specifically for your report. So
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
yeah. The other thing that is built into Credit Score Pro is our credit coaching section. We have given you 44 different modules of videos all about everything credit. It's broken down into different sections. So what you see listed on the screen is all 7 sections of videos. Each video ranges from anywhere from 3 minutes all the way up to 10 minutes. With our longest, there's 2 videos at 15 minutes. So meant to be bite-sized, but also meant to give you whatever you want to know about credit. So you can be an expert in a single category, or you can know as much as Allie and I know about credit and be that resource for everybody you know in your lives. So
Yeah, this is one thing that I encourage like loan officers and real estate agents and any professional that's working with consumers that has to do with financials or credit. Get on Credit Score Pro. It's free to have this resource and have all of these modules so you can really learn about credit. And like, Ivory was saying, as a consumer, you can, help your family and friends. But if you're a professional listening to this, like you can really understand credit and really help people who are coming to you as a trusted advisor by knowing this information. So I encourage you to dive into this too. Maybe you don't have credit issues, but you want to understand so you could be a trusted advisor on all the aspects of credit. I encourage you to do that as well.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you do not have to be an expert to improve your credit. And I think that most people feel like they have to be. They either have to be an expert or they have to spend tons of money and hire an expert. But with Credit Score Pro AI, we give you all those tools, all those resources so that one, the AI can help you. And if you do want to learn more, you have that option. It's the only resource I know of that does the credit monitoring for you, allows you to create disputes without having to be a credit specialist in the industry, allows you to have a credit action plan to rebuild your credit, and gives you the education. I mean, it's an all-in-one platform, all-in-one tool. Again, the only thing you pay for is access to your credit report. I don't know
You
if
just
there's
can't get that
anything
anywhere
else.
else. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't get all that anywhere else, by no means. All right, so question and answer section. We're at time, so we'll just
Yeah, we
kind of
are.
explore if I think we have one person on this Zoom link with us. So I think is it Jacqueline? I'm not gonna say,
Jackie.
huh?
I think it's Jackie.
Jackie, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I don't know, Ivory, if you have any of the lives up to see if there's any comments, but
I do not see
okay.
any comments right now. I thought I would show the website too, because you kept mentioning how we need to show
Yeah, let's do
where to
that.
get the credit building
Let's
tools.
do
So
that quickly. Yeah.
let's go ahead and I'm going to show you where you can access the credit building tools. So if you go to the creditscorepro.ai website, you can click on build credit right here at the top. And this is where we list all sorts of different credit building tools. And some of these you click and expand and it will open all of the different options for savings accounts, as Ali had mentioned, for credit cards, checking accounts, auto loan purchases, auto loan refinances, auto insurance. And then we have some of the other tools listed right here as well. Now, we also do have other sections if you would like to watch some videos about credit. There's more on our YouTube, but this explores into more detail how the AI works, things you should know about credit, and how Credit Score Pro AI can help. And then we do have a blog section as well. So if you prefer reading, there's some things you can read on here too. But otherwise, feel free to check out the website if you're in the lending space or nonprofit space. We do have options available for you to work with us or partner with us. That way we can help your participants on the nonprofit space or your clients in the mortgage lending or banking space. But yeah, our website is meant to be very helpful. And if you are interested in getting started, all you have to do is click get started, start entering in your information, and in 1, 2, 3 screens, you have access to your credit report and Credit Score Pro.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. Those who are on listening on live, Jackie, you being here on the Zoom, we appreciate you. And if we can assist you in any way, you can visit us at our Facebook private group. Do you have that screen to pop up?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah, hold on.
we do have a private Facebook group. It's
Let
a
me get
great
it pulled
place
up.
to ask questions. And if you're a professional and you want to help answer questions, we love that too. Or pose a question that you have heard your clients ask. Those are always good things. I think she's going to try to pop that up. But we can also be reached at support at Credit Score Pro. Or no, excuse me, support at my Credit Score Pro.com if you would like to send us an email. But we thank you very much for being here. And I think she's going to show it. Okay, here it is. Credit Score Pro AI Credit Revolution. We encourage you to get on here and participate, ask questions, and we will get back to you and answer those
So I
questions.
do have a question.
Yes.
Um, excuse me, I have a little bit of a sinus, some allergies going on, so excuse the voice. So I am a um, business loan broker, and I joined very late. So tell me a little bit if you have a few more minutes. You mentioned at the end that you can partner with lenders and whatever as a business loan, business loan broker. How, what type of partnership opportunities would there be?
Well, it sounds like maybe you have an opportunity where you have clients that are looking to get business funding that maybe not need the personal credit stuff worked on.
Correct.
So we could be that avenue for you. And it's really nice because then they're not paying high costs for a professional to do it. The AI can do it for them. So they're just paying for credit monitoring. And then we can talk more. If you want to send us an email at support@mycreditscorepro.com. Make sure I say it right, saying this
I'm gonna
slow.
put it in the chat.
Okay, Ivory's gonna put in the chat. We can talk more about specifically how it might work for you and your organization, get some more details on it.
Yeah, we can set up a demo and a conversation. You can also, if you want to throw your email in the chat, feel free. Otherwise, I know I can dig it out from the registration too.
Yeah, I can drop it in here. But just another quick question. How is this? Well, of course, it's AI, so I would imagine it's a relatively new business, but how long have you guys been in existence?
So we've been doing this. I've been doing it for 21 years. Ivory's following right behind me. The AI has been a part of our organization for about 5 years in different capacities, but we've opened it up as Credit Score Pro. I think we're getting ready to have our 1-year anniversary of Credit Score Pro, I think. So,
Yep.
but the actual technology we've been using for about 5 years.
Yeah, so we were able to combine different parts of the technology that we had and then also improve upon it with all the advances we've seen over the last several years.
All right. And I do have a client right now that I'm working with. I don't know how this would apply because, like I said, I joined very late. But she was shopping for a vehicle recently. She has a pretty decent credit score in the 700 range, quite decent actually. But she has a lot of inquiries. Does your software do anything? So she was shopping for a vehicle for her business in April of this year.
Yeah.
And at least on one of the bureaus, she has 4 hits on the same day, 4 inquiries on the same day for an automobile.
Yeah, and that's a really great point because a lot of commercial lenders use Credit Score Pro for exactly what you're talking about. It is phenomenal. And I haven't actually seen any other process that's as good at getting inquiries off of credit report as Credit Score Pro. It is absolutely crazy phenomenal what it'll get off. It's so good. I tell people this, don't click on inquiries of open accounts that you currently have open, because by doing that, you very likely will get them closed. That's how good Credit Score Pro is getting inquiries off. But sometimes if you have an open account that you just opened up and you dispute the inquiry, it can cause a closure of that account because they're thinking it's fraud or something like that. So, but yeah, business funding lenders love Credit Score Pro for that reason.
Okay. All right. I'd like to get some more details on how
I'm looking forward to that.
You know, how that would work, what the cost would be to her, what type of partnership I can set up with Credit Score Pro, and just all the fine print type of details.